Hello and good evening. You're watching the Policy Times, world's first policy and development media. We also call ourselves that there are three kinds of media, normally two kinds of media. One is pro and the other is anti. Now we as Policy Times want to position ourselves as the implementation partner or partner of the government. It is very important that from the macro point of view, whatever policies nation make or a countries make, they are never wrong. The policies are always made with an intention to benefit the people of the country and safeguard the nation. We believe that if we can be the supporting hand to the policymakers, we can help them implement those policies. And if we can implement as much as with the intention with which the policymakers make the policies, we can make our nations wonderful. Uh, the world is changing massively. I remember around 30 to 40 years back, my grandparents used to have thieves coming to their doorstep, knocking at their door that we are here to rob your, utensils or important things. That was around 40 years or 50 years before. Later on, the concept of security kept on changing. Now, especially post pandemic, we are absolutely in the digital era. And in this digital era, when most of our personal information are online and anybody from any part of the world can have access, if they have some of the valuable informations or if they have the access of some of our personal information, they can see whatever our personal things are. Here, this has become absolutely important to safeguard our privacy, our personal informations, and especially our financial informations. Now, if you see, I'll just give you a small fact. Like in 2019, before the pandemic, the number of registered cases were around 4 lakhs. In 2020, the cases have touched around 11 lakhs. Even in this first half of this 2021, the cases have touched 6 lakhs. 6 lakhs of around cyber crimes or cyber security breaches are happening every day. And this with the literate, illiterate, semi-educated kind of people across the country. So it has become absolutely imperative to understand the cybersecurity risks and the probable solutions of it and what kind of national strategy we are making. And I cannot be happier, cannot be thrilled and more joyous than having one of the most important and intelligent policymakers of the country, Shri Brijesh Singh sir, who is an IPS officer and cybersecurity expert. He is also IGP of Government of Maharashtra Police. He is directly in charge of the cybersecurity issue. The Unleashing India Global Web Summit series, who is chaired and mentored by Dr.P.Sekhar, who is chairman of Unleashing India Global Smart City Panel. He is an author, an anchor, a nation builder, a policy influencer who has been, again, since last 4 to 5 decades, working tirelessly to promote national development and nation building. Since last 10 years, he has been dedicatedly writing a lot of books. Recently, he has written this book on cybersecurity. With him today, our expert Brijesh sir will discuss what kind of initiatives he is taking. Now, Brijesh sir needs no introduction. He is a absolutely famous policymaker based in Maharashtra, Mumbai. Sir has written also a book. The book was launched by Shri Amitabh Bachchan ji, one of the Indian icon. I mean, two icons, again, sitting from two different fields. Sir has also given a small forward in the book. So without taking any more time, I would like to request and hand over the floor to Dr. P.Sekhar. And I'm really excited to see what kind of initiatives Sir has taken and how this will help the nation fight against cybersecurity risks. Dr. Sekhar, over to you.
Thank you, Akram. Today, technically, is 122nd event show. This Unleashing India was started in May 2000. This was started, of course, in a casual way, thinking that few we will do. because somebody has to bell the cat. There is so much of negativity which is being spread, so much of fear which is being spread, so much of things which are not in the interest of the country being spread, and by good people. Nobody is doubting the integrity of the people who are spreading it. But it is just a normal phenomena that ill news travel apace. So ill news are getting traveling at a much faster pace and much in the cyber media. So now it went on and on without a break for the last more than a year. It is going on, and we have extremely good people and a reasonably good reception. That's why it is going to its next stages. Today we have a very important topic called cybersecurity. Yes, technically even cybersecurity we had two sessions before by different experts, but this expert is very different from the previous experts, not to compare, because here is an IPS officer who knows technology, technical, and any aspect of this, so much so that he can train a cybersecurity expert. He knows, being a policeman with versatile experience in various aspects, he knows what the police can do, what the cyber criminal is wanting to do, and how it can be thwarted, how it can be minimized. It will never be zero. Cyber crime is as much as taking a knife and cutting a vegetable and cutting a hand. And somebody is cutting another fellow's hand, then it is a slightly tricky issue, who, where, how, to put it in a very, glaring terminology. And talking of Brijesh Singh a little more, he is, a police officer with 5 postgraduate degrees. He's an engineer, a main psychology, a main postgraduate in, business, this thing, so many things which are quite, appealing to all of us to see, how a person who is an IPS officer who's got all the things on his head to take care, and that too he became an IPS officer at a very young age. Around 96, he joined IPS, and he is also an award-winning officer of grade, and he has handled various aspects. It's not that he's only doing cybersecurity. Cybersecurity was in fact heading cybersecurity in Maharashtra and did an excellent job in terms of this thing. Now he's an Inspector General of Police Administration for whole of Maharashtra. Today, of course, he's not technically heading cybersecurity to the best of my knowledge, but he's always guiding everybody and everything. He's not one of those who say, this is not my job, I will not do. And also, he is a pleasant, well-meaning officer and well-welcomed officer, and also a person who would like to take it in a proper way. Of course, he is internationally known, but he doesn't want to be known in that way. He specifically said, yes, let us talk India. So I would, but of course, I have to only tell him that even international level, he is highly respected, because I heard people talking about him on a other scale. So with a small brief, I would request how the format today will be, because we generally have 2 speakers. Today, the 2 speakers are me and Brijesh. So Brijesh Singh can talk for 10 minutes. Then I have a presentation which I'll give for 10 minutes. And then again, I'll request him. Then I will complete my balanced presentation. And then we'll have 2 minutes of talk and conclude. Yes, Brijesh Singh, mic is yours.
So I've said this earlier at some other fora that generally crime affects one of the things, like it either affects person, or affects property, or affects society, or affects state. But cybercrime is the only thing which affects person, property, society, state, everything. If you look at the typology of crimes given everywhere, all across the world, you'll find that there's a typology of crimes according to what is affected. Now, here is something which is so potent that it can take away your reputation, take away your money, disturb the peace of your neighborhood, your society, rob your country of democracy. We've seen that happening in some other countries, and even can be used for warfare. So we have, while these technologies have unleashed immense power for helping people, for solving real problems like navigation, like communication, real world problems have been solved. But they have also created immense opportunity for the adversary side. Now, something very interesting I'll tell you, that if you look at how modern policing, at least in the common law countries, originated, it started with Thames River Police in around in 1830s in London, when to protect trade on the river, they needed this aspect of policing. So I'm talking of this modern policing. Similarly, we have developed this huge internet highway where everything is taking place, from communication to trade to your personal things. But somewhere an infrastructure to protect it has not evolved. Now, coming straight to where law enforcement suffers is that there are no global standards here of information interchange. There is something called, I think, a Budapest Protocol, but India is not a signatory to it because it was tied up with other things which were, in India's view, not very germane to just cybercrime. Now, having said this, when you start to investigate a cybercrime, you find that be it a social media platform, be it a site, when the data is not hosted in the country, you are either hit with a question of basically parity between whether this is a crime in this country and it is a parallel crime under some section in that country, to long and complex procedures like letterogatory. To solve letterogatories, people came up with mutual legal assistance treaties, MLATs. But even with MLATs, if you ask for assistance, it takes around 1300 days. Now, thing which was thought to speed it up takes 1300 days. So today we are in a situation where investigation becomes difficult because of anonymization, because of obfuscation, because of encryption, and because of these jurisdictional issues. On the other side, the adversary doesn't have any problem with jurisdiction. The entry barrier is low. For every crime, there's an entry barrier. If somebody wants to become a dacoit, he'll need to be physically fit. He'll need to take the risk of trying to go and beat somebody and trying to rob somebody and probably get killed. But here, you don't have any risk. You need to be slightly literate and savvy. And also for the first time, police is facing the criminal which is smarter than them. At an average thing, because the average cyber criminal is savvy. He's smart. He's learned the tools and techniques of not only general usage of computers, but something beyond that. He understands systems, he understands networks, understands protocols, understands ports, understands malware, understands human psychology. So, and also that due to this anonymity, people feel empowered. People feel that they can do anything. And if they are sort of at a distance and behind a veil, they feel that they are empowered to do anything. Something which people will not do generally in real life. They feel it very easy to commit those things on the internet. Well, let me tell you that something that is a crime on ground is also a crime online. People do not know this. That if I abuse somebody, if that abuse goes beyond a particular thing, then that is a crime, and so it is on internet. Secondly, people think that internet doesn't leave traces. Internet leaves traces. It's a tattoo. It doesn't go anywhere. So even for privacy, people and children do not realize that one particularly, let's say, inappropriate photo which a child sends on Snapchat or any other WhatsApp or any other media from one phone to other, it doesn't go from one phone to other. It's traveling across servers all over the world, leaving footprints you don't know where. And tied to this are the data breaches, that your data is continuously being collected. We are in a data economy where everybody is wanting your data. Like if you just log on to the internet, there are some 150, 200 parameters which go out from your computer. So you can actually check it on sites like infobleed.com. Just go there and you see it is going to tell you what is your operating system, what is the browser you are using, what exactly is the version of your browser, whether your system is patched or not, whether you're using a handheld device, so on and so forth. What is your screen size, right? So these many parameters are going out on if you just log on to the internet. Now, on devices and on mobile devices, much more information is going. So it's in a data economy. Primarily, you have become a product which is being sold. And this is okay till they protect your data, or at least they're using it to improve their services. But once there's a data breach, imagine this, that somebody can just take that data and use it in a credential stuffing attack and start sort of do an account hijack and take over your identity. And identity theft is a very, very big problem today. Today you see people get these phishing and wishing calls, and they talk very convincingly. And where do they get this data from? They have gotten this data from data breaches. So you see that right from the child at home who is sharing an inappropriate picture to as you talked about, fake news, which is affecting our institutions about and our democracy, our law and order, our peace, to our financial security. Everything is affected by cybercrime. And there are opportunists sitting everywhere who are getting more and more sophisticated. Entry barrier is low. It doesn't need much. Not only that, there is an ecosystem which trains people. Not only that, cybercrime as a service is available. So if you want to do more complex attacks, if you want to hire a phishing service, if you want to purchase a particular malware, you can go on the dark web and ask for these services, and then go on and pay anonymously in Bitcoins. Similarly, if people want somebody to get hacked, you can give these services almost like what they call in Mumbai Supari. So you can get these contracts out there on dark web where people will hack somebody for money. So this all has created an insecure world, and it's time that at various levels, at the level of nation states, we create policies and procedures around this space where we ensure that safety is built in. We create technologies which are secure by design. We create apps which cannot be breached. We create good encryption, which protects us. We create, secure messaging, secure communication. We protect our identities. We protect our privacy. And at the level of individuals, let's be aware, have basic cyber hygiene, understand the risks of oversharing, understand the meaning of what you share and how, what do the privacy settings on your account mean. And generally, otherwise, keep your devices updated and patched. So at various levels, right, from individual to nation state, there is a whole set of countermeasures which can be adopted, which can begin from basic cyber hygiene to basically up to a level of policies and innovation. So this is the whole gamut where I feel that these technologies have immense power. But as you said, a knife can be used to cut a fruit, and a knife can be used to stab. Similarly, encryption can be used to secure our communication, and encryption can be used to, encrypt somebody's computer and ask money in Bitcoin. So it depends on what use these powerful technologies are put to. But I feel that there should be a policy and governance framework. And as Dr. Sekhar always says, of unlocking the value of technology for the greater good. So I believe that in cybersecurity, there is a great unlocking which should be done. And probably Dr. Sekhar will be able to guide us on this. Dr. Sekhar.
Yeah. What I will do is I will just run through a small presentation, which I will run half now. And then after the second half of Brijesh Singh's talk, I will do the second half. Yeah. So as we all know, the topic, of course, is unleashing cybersecurity strategy for national growth, and how we can make whatever is happening, the negative thing which are happening because of cybersecurity, and how it has to be surmounted, and how it will give rise to a national growth phenomenon. Now, coming to that, of course, this is my book and forward note, fortunately by Mr. Brijesh Singh. I'll not go into that detail. Now, we as a country, when we talk about us as a country, we should know few small parameters, which is part of my regular thing. That when we as a country is almost 206 countries put together, we as a country is quite large. We have multiple religion, multiple language, multiple culture, multiple habits, so many things which are there, which are maximum for any part of the world. And we also constitute the most disciplined force and most contradictory people. We are a 10,000-year-old civilization having only 70 years of young nation. So with that background, we have experience in the past, but we have lost it in the last 200 years. And we are now 70 years, we are gaining back. What do we mean by we are gaining back? We got independence as a 350 nation, 350 people, 350 million people country, and we are now 1.35 billion people. Almost 850 million new people have come to the country. So this is challenge and opportunity. 850 new million people who have joined in the last 70 years can be a very big setback for the progress, and can also be a very big market, because of which the country's growth can go much faster. Now, this particular series which we are doing is post-COVID devastation. And when we mean post-COVID devastation, means from last year, March. We are not talking of anything COVID going away and leaving us in peace and all. COVID is going to be there permanently. It will be one more disease, one more, we always say COVID is like a scorpion bite, and which has been made like a, dinosaur attacking us. But it is a very dangerous thing. A scorpion is a very, very dangerous animal. Anyway, we cannot see the danger of COVID. We can never dilute it. It is a very dangerous item. But it has to be seen from the point of view of economic growth. Now, when already there's an economic downfall, cyber crime is coming out to be a bigger item. Okay, as you can see, as I go down the slide, some of the cyber crimes have multiplied. So now, what is a cyber crime? It is a crime which is through the computer, through the communication, through the network, and through mobile. Any of this thing which is, not directly physical in nature. But like Mr. Brijesh Singh said, it is much worse than physical damage, because this is not only can really damage physically, not by its indirect impact, but it also damages a high level of psychological, and it has got various ways in which it has to be analyzed. So now, major types of cybercrime: hackers, mobile devices, spam, employees, botnets, then physical theft, click jacking, identity theft, viruses, hacking, so many. It doesn't end there. Okay. So emerging areas of cyber risk, as you can see, it is right from your personal life to office life to anything. You may just be manufacturing, your design may go somewhere. You may be a financial institution, and 10 guys may come and say that my money has been taken by somebody and I did not take it. You may be having a telecom thing. Somebody may be saying that, okay, from my mobile, something has happened. What do I do? You may have a corporate office. Somebody may talk of, personal jacking of the, especially the female employees, or it may be the secrets of the company going away. Pharmaceutical company with so much of top secret, patented items which are being made, can certainly find that, there are 10 guys who knows about you more than what you know. And government officers with so much of sensitive data available, they all are at the risk of anything to do with cybercrime. Now, key cyber trends are today because of cloud computer and AI. AI is artificial intelligence, and then there are a lot of extended detection response, security process automation, and so many risk of enterprise solution. And along with that, the data privacy as a discipline, we have to also see how it happens. Secured access, because all this thing, whatever is the problem, like there are people like Brijesh Singh sitting and trying to help you all, trying to give the solution. There's nothing as going to be, even at the remotest case, a zero crime situation. But crime has to be minimized. Crime should not be the basic, tenets. Like when you see a little more detail, which Akram also pointed out. We used to have about 4 lakh cyber complaints. It became almost 11 to 12 lakh last year. Today, in the first 6 months itself, it has exceeded 6 lakhs. That means something is increasing, because during COVID time, idle mind is a devil's workshop. So even some good people are becoming cyber criminals because of their own problem, their own this thing. And like Brijesh Singh said, there is no age barrier. Even a youngster can do something jugglery and then understand what it is, and then tries to, maybe that person may even be taking the money from their own parent, but parent does not know. Parent makes a complaint. Suddenly they found that the son himself is taking the money. So there is a various trends to watch in 2021. So this is especially because of the cloud. And other thing which Mr. Brijesh Singh said, which we have to very properly analyze, is today when you have one smallest action taking place, you just put on your mobile. There are hundreds of things which are going from the mobile to thousands of entities, because It is one entity which may be going, but one entity to multiple entities, because each person is seeing from a different angle. Some are genuinely looking at marketing. Some are genuinely looking at offering you something good. Like many times we always used to joke 20 years back that when the mobile GPS and other things going, you are just going to an unknown area and you have a taste for X item. That will say, oh, this item is here. You have something else. People say, no, you are doing wrong. It is not correct. You can come here. But this is something which you like, which is very, very good. But it is not good when a wrong person has your information, tries to identify as you, and then trying to camouflage the world and trying to see that things are against your interest, financial, psychological, personal, and above all, you are almost people around you think you have sent a message which you are not, or something to do with you is sort of camouflaged and sent, and which is not you, and your whole credibility, everything is at risk. So that is why we cannot take it lightly. 6 lakh complaint itself is not anything big, but the 6 lakh people who got affected, 6 lakh of 1.6 billion, everywhere we cannot compare the number and dilute the impact of it. That person's whole integrity may be in doubt, but he has nothing to do with it. He was just sleeping, and during that time it is shown that he has done X, Y, Z, which is what will happen. During COVID, things have increased like anything. Okay, unfortunately. Again, anything is within inverted commas. We are all talking of all the things which are less than 1%, 1.5%, which is not, we are not talking of this thing inside that. But even 1% of 1.2 billion people is very large. So we have to see some of these things from bottom to top approach, not from top to bottom, and always feel that these are too minimal. Too minimal, yes, there's nothing that it is going to devastate and make you make the whole country bankrupt. But very sensitive, very the same kind of individuals who are going to suffer, individuals who need a solution, individuals who would like, who would be sort of devastated by what is happening, and there are others who are just going to be laughing at this, which is what a police is supposed to do to catch them. So they have to be empowered. They have to have the, like you said, in this, people are more smarter than the solution which police has got. Because right from a 10-year-old boy, there are cyber, some of the youngest cyber criminals are just 8 to 9-year-old. So they don't even know what they're doing is bad, but they're doing it because it gives them a pleasure. It gives them, in olden days, people just dial some odd number and say, hello, how are you? I can see what you're doing. And that used to devastate somebody else. Because during those days, one will never know who is phoning. So you can phone from anybody to anybody, and small children will just phone any odd number and put the sleep out of people. So which cannot happen today because the numbers are high. As you can see, as I go down, the numbers also I am projecting. You will know that some of the numbers are really, really high. So as you can see, there has been 300% increase in cyber crimes as reported even in something like USA. And 27% of the cyber attack. Please let us not understand the 25% of the bank transaction target healthcare organization. And that means out of this small portion, let us also not be over this thing of this thing. Percentage all are relative to the numbers which are getting affected. So anyway, I will not go line by line because I have to have Mr. Brijesh Singh again coming for second round. So COVID-19 cybersecurity impacts are 47% implements distraction as reason for falling for a phishing. Because when people are slightly disturbed, slightly isolated, when something comes judiciously in your mobile, because most of the cyber crimes happen by some wording which is very attractive, which is very sensitive to a person's requirement. And then he just clicks. Please click this. I am giving you, 10 lakh rupee credit. Please click this. A mobile is available at 80% discount. Please click this. I am having a free mobile ticket, a ticket to a movie. Or during COVID time, it is not a movie. I download a movie stream to you. So, these are something depending on the person's mood, temperament. That's what is a cited distraction as a reason for falling into phishing scam. Because which normally a person may not do, they start doing. Okay. 81% of cybersecurity professionals reported that job function has changed during pandemic. So many of the people who are having certain types of work, they have changed. And somewhere they have gone into this, or they have become prey to this. 500,000 of Junior account were compromised and sold in dark system. Again, this is something which we cannot help it, because everybody is doing all sorts of ways to secure. But if a thief comes with a thing which can break any lock, the lock maker has to make it. But you have to give some time to the lock maker. So during that time, many things which are not so good, for the system happens. This is a very interesting side. The sectors witnessing a large cyber attack. The technology, media, telecom, you can just see that nothing is left. Okay, and each one by percentage I have tried to locate that they are all in some way significant, right from 1% to 26%. So it is something which one has to take care. So technology, media, telecommunication is maximum at 26%. Financial services second, and others are all going down to 1%, which is automation, defense, and all, where things are more secure, and even there's things which are not so good has happened. So number of hackings, this is another thing which is there, which are all huge in terms of, again, bottom to top approach. Okay. In terms of number of users, they're all in billions and trillions. So it is a very minuscule. But minuscule from bottom to top, even when you say 33,000 phishing per day, means 33,000 people have been somewhere affected, or same person has been affected 5 times, means even its numbers are significant, which needs to be, attended. Malware. Somebody just opened a mail in all good intention that has just spoiled the system. This is very good. Ransomware is absolutely bad, which is putting a person, in terms of direct physical monetary risk, which means somebody robs something from you and says that unless you pay so much, that too nowadays, like he said, through cryptocurrency they ask, so that means you don't even have a trail of how to locate a person who has taken the money. So ransomware is, amongst all this, is the deadliest, because it not only gives you psychological, it also gives you direct, you yourself are giving money to somebody for retrieving either your data or your photograph or your data or your transaction detail, or something by which, something which you don't want to lose. So global size market is pretty huge. It's almost coming to $345 billion in by 2026, and it is a growing market, which has to be taken care, because what we are trying to conclude, at least in the second portion, will be how this also can be capitalized and taken into account, and ensure that a national growth strategy is properly built. So some of the mega trends in India is the smart city, digital India, startup India, make in India. Many things which India is doing are something good, even though we see newspapers only blaring things which are negative. But it is cutting across politics or political lines. Indians are very versatile. Others, so many of the topmost company CEOs will not be Indian, because they were all trained in India, brought up in India, and then they have gone abroad. And they are all absolutely sought after. And they are all there to sing. And Indians in India are even smarter than them. And they are also, in all the challenging circumstances, they are doing an extremely good job, and they are trying to set up things which are there. Now, when this is happening, cybersecurity comes as a small snake or a scorpion, which I use the word for COVID, which is coming and trying to disturb. As you know, even one snake, many times we say, can almost frighten a whole battalion, because people do not know where it will attack, how it will attack, why it will attack. So this better be taken care, better be minimized, better ensure that damages are low, better ensure that proper information is given to the right set of people. If I am affected, if I am in a job, I try to ensure all my neighboring colleagues. I try to ensure the right law enforcing authority. Let us not over create a problem, because sometimes the small malware has come and the small mail has simply this thing. I just make it look like my whole company has become bankrupt because of this. Then again, we are trying to create more panic than what the actual thing demands. So spending on cybersecurity, trillions of dollars are being spent. That is where I'll come in the second half. How this itself can give rise to a huge. These are all the various segments under which the spending they are done. So critical infrastructures have got their own requirement, cybersecurity. And then again, here 78% of people claim to know the risk that came clicking unknown, and still they click. They know, but still they click. So these are all certain glaring things by which even the most intelligent person, does something by which he falls prey. So always be, conscious of the fact that somebody else is trying to say something. Many times people feel, no, what is it that man is going to do by looking at my email? I am doing nothing. But not knowing that they can create some ID and then they can send something and cause damage to us. So that way things are, I do not do too much of this data mining, but the data gives us the significance, the requirement, and the way we can come out of this thing. So registered cybercrime, as I said, things have more than doubled during this COVID period. Okay, after 2 slides, I will give the mic back to Mr. Brijesh Singh. So cyber security, certain facts and measures. Okay, cybercrime registered almost 121% between 2016 to 18. And certain IT act has been done by India. Many of the acts are getting evolved. Like you said rightly, today, we are fighting against a dark enemy. I mean, dark does not mean anything dark in that way. It means it is like something at night. I do not know who is attacking me, what is happening, what it is happening, and why I have to do it. But people are doing an excellent job in trying to understand, in trying to mitigate, in trying to evolve it out. At each stage, a bigger attack takes place. And again, there are people who are, trying to, come out of it. And so this is what is a various thing. And of course, unfortunately, China stands as one of the biggest thing. Of course, Chinese are good people, but some portion of China is creating a lot more problem. But there are Indian hackers, Indian this thing. We can't say we are totally avoid of them. So we need to somehow segregate this. We need to come out of this particular syndrome of trying to see that we are on a different platform. So these are all, because of various, after this slide, I'll give it to Brijesh Singh. Rise of connected devices in India. There's facts and figures which he said I will present. There are, by 2025, there'll be 4 billion connected devices. There'll be 10 exabytes of monthly traffic. Imagine how much it is. 500 million mobile broadband connections, 1.36 billion cellular connections, 310 million 3G broadband, 30 exabytes of monthly mobile data. I mean, these are all just this thing, and these are all actual facts. So with that, I will again request Mr. Brijesh Singh. In the second half, I would, of course, request him what sort of solutions he has in mind, what sort of ways in which he feels things can be taken care, what are his suggestions for the public, the law enforcing authority, and India's international connection, so that we are in a safe and secure world. Mr. Brijesh Singh.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Sekhar. That was a wonderful overview with proper facts and figures as to what's actually happening in the world of cybercrime and the kind of dangers we are facing. Interestingly, if you look at the largest incident that are happening in the world today, somewhere there is a cyber element to it. So if you look at the Colonial Pipeline hack, which happened in the US, it was a kind of ransomware attack, but it led to almost declaration of emergency in parts of the US where, the major gas pipeline was shut for days, and they had to pay ransom in millions of dollars. Now, another story is that the investigating agencies are so good that they could, I think, recover $4 million back by probably, if quote unquote, hacking back into the cyber criminals' accounts and getting those bitcoins back. So it's a cat and mouse game. Businesses are increasingly facing a larger and more sophisticated cybercrime threat. So ransomware itself, if you look at it, has become more and more complex and evolved. Like ransomware is leaving nothing. So institutions which were doing COVID-19 research their ransomware had struck. Hospitals where there were emergency services were struck with ransomware. Imagine this, that there are 50 patients on ventilator, and suddenly all your systems of the hospital start getting shut down, wiping off all the data. So it's that dangerous. Healthcare was majorly affected. In fact, healthcare is increasingly targeted. It's a new trend last 2 years that healthcare is being increasingly targeted both for data breaches and for disruption. So business disruption is becoming a very big thing. Right through DDoS also, distributed denial of services. Those instances are slightly less today, but DDoS is still happening. So apart from financial motive, there is business disruption also, which is a great threat. The other sophistication that is happening in ransomware today is that the cybercrime actors, the ransomware actors, are actually stealing data, and they are going for a secondary blackmail. In a case, they hacked certain law firms in Europe, I think, and in US, of which they were celebrity clients, including the ex-US president. So now if you don't want to get your data back by paying in Bitcoin, then they say that, okay, we're going to release this data. And in many cases, they've gone forth and released this data. Now look at a business or a corporate as to the kind of threat they face. Apart from loss of their valuable data, system downtime, business disruption, if this is known outside, there's a reputational risk. More than that, once there's a data breach, then there are costs associated with notification, there are costs associated with litigation, there's a whole regulatory framework which starts acting, then there are punitive damages. In fact, in the GDPR controlled countries, the General Data Protection Regulation countries, which are basically Europe, and I think GDPR still applies to UK even after Brexit. But if you look at GDPR, then the fine in GDPR for each violation can be up to 4% of your global turnover. And GDPR has been, and the GDPR regime has been levying very, very heavy fines. So today, what used to be a simple hacking risk has become an existential risk for business. That your share price may be affected, your trust may be affected, your customer base may get eroded, your data may go out, your IPs may be stolen, and you may face regulatory risk, you may face legal and punitive risk, so on and so forth. So even one thing, that ransomware has evolved into a very, very complex threat. I think Europe and US, they are creating ransomware. I think US is creating a national task force on ransomware. So rather than giving suggestions at the end, I would like to say that India also needs to create some kind of a national task force on ransomware, because I don't know of a corporate where where there wasn't either an attempt to hack them with ransomware, or they actually suffered it. In India, there is no compulsory reporting, and most of the cybercrime incidents which affect corporates actually get treated as internal incidents, and where experts are called and they remedy, do a root cause analysis, submit a report, and then everything is hunky-dory. But I think that there should be compulsory reporting norms, and these things should be investigated. Because what happens when you investigate is that you come to know the threat actor. You may be not able to catch him in the first instance, but you come to know the threat actor. And if it is really a large threat actor, then you're building a case against that threat actor. Tomorrow, when some other country starts prosecuting that, then you can go there and tell, hey, look here, why don't you extradite this person? Because I have 5 cases pending in India too. So it's essential. And somewhere the corporate also has to understand that reputational risk is one thing, but you also have a responsibility towards your customers, your stakeholders, your regulators, your society, and your peers, your whole industry, your sector. Because you may secretly patch your systems, but probably tomorrow the next bank is going to be hit with the same thing. What do you do with that? So this ransomware is evolved into a very complex threat. DDoS is happening. Business email compromise is a very, very serious thing which businesses have to look at. And it happens simply like this, that let us say Dr.P.Sekhar is importing some microchips from a particular country, from Poland, and in line, the hacker is sitting on your emails, and in line, he gets a message, a trail mail which says that, okay, there's a slight change, and due to COVID, I'm not able to access this bank account, and please send the invoices to this bank account. And you end up sending. It's evolved into something better now. What they're doing is that they are actually taking the invoice, which is generated, let's say, from your customer, and within the invoice making changes and changing the bank account, beneficiary bank account, which is virtually undetectable. So okay, there are various kinds of practices, DMARC, DKIM, which are evolving to prevent enterprises getting affected by business email compromise. But this is a very potent threat, and it is still happening. It's also called CEO fraud, but this is still happening. Insider threat still continues to be a very, very big threat. And insider threat sometimes can be innocuous. It can be, somebody who's plain simple or has misconfigured the devices. But due to insider, all your expensive cybersecurity which you purchase may be nullified, because if something is happening from the inside, then you hardly have any control on it. Now, in this scenario, when COVID suddenly happened, the world started digitizing perforce rapidly. Everybody had to work at home, and from the same computer from which you were sending your invoices, your child is playing some pirated game. So your home Wi-Fi is in the routers and the firmware, everything is insecure. The cyber criminals got a free a playground to play. And if you look at the size of the data breaches, so earlier, whatever used to happen in a year is happening in a month. The size of data breaches has expanded by exponential terms. And a data breach is not a simple thing, because once your data is breached, then there are scripts to check all your accounts. So if I have Dr. Sekhar's, email and password from one particular breach, I can start checking it automatically, logging into, using a script into all possible services. And first of all, the service will tell me whether an account exists or not. Once it is very essential to follow principles of cybersecurity to the T, from policy to implementation, everything. It is serious business. And as naturally you would talk about that, how you need innovation here. And India has the brightest minds. Whenever I've gone to any foreign country, I have found that a large number of engineers, even in a cybersecurity company, were Indians. Somehow we are not productizing. Though we are innovating, we are somehow being code coolies. We are working on somebody else's code and somebody else is productizing. We need to create an ecosystem here where we value innovation. Because today, even if one of the bright boys innovates, then nobody is ready to purchase it, because we want brands. We want to show that it's from some foreign country, where we are not encouraging local talent. But this is the same local talent which is going outside and making these things for them. If you look at your mobile phone today, you find that there are hardly any original Indian products. So while this is being made so this is a kind of digital colonization, that still we are the raw material factory of the world. Today we are producing code. As earlier we used to produce cotton and other things for the world, and coal and everything. So today we need to take this back. We need to innovate. We need to create also a mentoring and a venture capital ecosystem. Not everything can be done by government. The government can absolutely make a policy and regulatory framework and an enabling framework around it. But somewhere I think we need to have a mechanism where we take academia, we take the brightest minds, we utilize their services, and we innovate and we create products and we give it to the world, because we would have cost advantage. Whatever can be made at $100 anywhere can be made at $20 in India. So we'll have this huge advantage. We should harness this. We have immense power. Otherwise, there's the flight of this intellectual capital. These people are going to go and code for all their lives for somebody else's product, which is going to be sold for $1 billion. So I stop here. I didn't want to paint a very grim picture, yes, but I believe that cybersecurity risk is real. It's existential. Right from a corporate to nation state to individual, we are facing these risks, and there are methods, and these methods are known. Right from cyber hygiene to policy, these methods are known. but they need to be followed. And cybersecurity is something where your vigilance has to be eternal. You cannot even for a minute look the other way, because there are automated scripts which are attacking everything at a rate of millions per second. So you will need to build robust structures for defense. You will need robust structures for medication. You will need robust structures for a risk governance framework. And because this is going to happen, you will be breached. What do you do after that? How do you handle it? How do you plug it? And how do you bounce back? So all this is essential. I know much is being done, but much also needs to be done. Dr. Shekhar.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. So what I will do, I'll technically complete my presentation and then come back into our final phase. Yeah. So we were at the various data level. Yeah. So now I will rush through this for two reasons. One is that much of the major thing we have said, and here we are trying to see, in a company, in what level, who has to be careful, and what way this has to be careful. This is more of an extension of what was already informed. The classification of cybersecurity, one in network security, endpoint security, data security, managed system security, each has got, by the title itself, a proper meaning. So I will not go into the detail. So one in network, endpoint, data, and managed security. And also we should know that, since again, this I will not touch again, it's all values, numbers which are there, because we know that the number is pretty large. And I will quickly come to what is the implication when we say that there could be, because of this system, there could be a good national growth. Because how do we look at it? I'll quickly come to that portion. So, because this market is pretty huge, and when some market is huge, means what I'm trying to say as I'm rushing through the slide is that means there is a huge employment potential. There's a huge revenue generation. Even if you put a profit and loss in terms of cyber, it is something which is phenomenally good. And it is become an industry by itself, even though it is an industry of what I would say chore police. It is not the typical chore police where, he said, that it is not a typical of somebody who is just trying to break the door and come in. It is a question of somebody who is sophisticated. So the sophisticated person may be sitting in front of you, but we can always try to have this as a bigger industry to catch the others. So there's a huge, right from, if you see lack of security culture, there could be huge training. There could be people who will give lectures, talk, and make a commercial. Leakage of sensitive information. Yes, people can make this also an item in which somebody can take charge of. If somebody doesn't know how to do it, they all can be taken care by this. Awareness, again, that could be training, come actual physical. Increased use of emerging technology, because we can't help it. Today, smallest child knows more about how to handle a mobile than the maybe even the educated parent. So how do we take care? So that itself becomes a big industry by itself. So each one is a big industry. So cyber attack and cyber this thing, let us not be only afraid of. Let us keep on cleaning it up. Yes, they will again come and attack you in a different way. Again, we clean up and create a bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger industry. As you can see, cybersecurity spend on various sectors and various systems are high, which again means that there is so much of employment potential. There's so much of technology development potential. Like what Mr. Brijesh Singh said, that why should we only be secondary, coders, whereas the leaders are also Indians sitting in various countries, whether people know or do not know. Even in China, many of the key people who are doing technology are Indians. So why don't we develop our own systems, our own parallel mechanism, because of which there could be huge employment potential, there could be huge revenue generation, there could be huge safety and security. The first one, the hacker will have it, will have to think 10 times. They will get minimized, but they will be there. because of them, there is so much of, employment generation. So to that level, yes, they are giving us, prosperity. So emerging cybersecurity trends of trends, authentication, cyber insurance, again insurance, it will again give rise to huge, its own industry by itself. Detection and response, again there will be different. Insider threats, there will be some separate agency to see how each person is doing, what are they doing, why are they doing. Supply chain attacks, if suppose, like you said, something is happening, somebody just manipulates your, invoice and puts a different bank account and takes the money. Yes, there will be secondary check, because people should know that these are the problems which are going to be there, which all have to be, taken care. Again, I'm quickly coming to the end because this was a very long presentation. So I'll only now, next few, I will read only the headline, and others will be understood. Indian security companies looking to capitalize domestic markets, very important, because this is what I'm coming to when I said that, because of this cyber problem, cyber security, we can have a different grade of development. Here is what is one of my core points. Now, because of this word secured governance, which you have put in the title also, is something which is a self-sustained growth, untapped potential for national growth. Generally, this untapped potential or infrastructure now. So, cyber security, which is negative, is also an untapped potential for growth, because this is there, just like any infrastructure. This problem is there. This problem is an identity which has to be taken care. If you don't take care, like Mr. Brijesh Singh said, it will become bigger than the bigger problems. Before it goes to that, if it has to be taken care, it has to be taken care like an industry. It has to be given the status of an industry. It should not be, yes, it is a supporting industry. We cannot, of course, at the same time say the cyber security is a major main industry. But today, it is a minuscule supporting industry. Instead of that, from all aspects, it should be trained. Then what happens in security, what does it say? It has multiple convergence of sectors. That every sector is getting affected because of cyber attacks. Every sector is efficiency is going down. Every sector is unnecessarily spending when things need not be spent 10 times more than what could have been avoided if they had done any precautionary measures. And of course, we are talking of mini hub, nano hubs and all. That will come as a cyber security hubs, where cyber security development will take place. Cyber security, training will be there. This particular slide indicates that, one of the largest projects in security governance is going on. That is 24 smart cities in Bombay, Nagpur Expressway. So in this, every alternate this thing will have, cyber security as an entity, not as a main supporting item. So in this, of course, since I'm coming toward the end, I have written a lot of books, including the one on cybersecurity, and this has got good, appreciation notes, including from Mr. Brijesh Singh, by which we are only trying to say that at the end, when something is reality and it is attacking us, let us not run away. Let us not be reactive once it has attacked. Let us be proactive. And because of that, let the growth be much faster, much multidimensional. And that's why we are saying as an endpoint security, we got so many things. They're all, each one is a gem. And we cannot allow the gem to go just because somebody is thinking negative and somebody is trying to put the whole thing down. So we have to ensure that we are having a lighted. That's why this particular thing is more of a light. The light is because the light of growth. The growth by which we all will have a happy, we always have secure governance is also something by which we are talking of 200 years of our own happy living. We are talking that GDP alone is not something which is going to give us, this thing. Happiness and joyful index is also part of it. Why should we be sad just because of cyber person has tried to attack? We ensure that given its due, minimize it, make it a big industry by itself, and let the growth take place. Let, like this particular slide, let the cyber person who is trying to attack us run away by seeing the police, and coincidentally, nothing better than having a policeman sitting in this web summit and addressing. Thank you. And with that, I will also have the last comment from Mr. Brijesh Singh before we conclude today's session.
Just a short this thing. Dr. Sekhar, I think you very well said that let's not run away from cyber risks. So let's have a risk governance framework that let's understand the risks um, and take countermeasures which are commensurate, because cybersecurity is expensive and it's endless. That how much will you pay? But somewhere, if we have a risk governance framework, then you would know what to protect, what is most important to protect, build layers of security according to your adversary's motivations, and the value of whatever you are trying to protect. And in this way, then you would be able to prioritize, place proper ring fences of security around all of your important assets, and end up having a better cybersecurity risk governance model than an ad hoc approach of just purchasing black boxes and applying them everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you. So just to put you in one word, we have to take it. We have to create new, some may not be new rules, and additional rules to see that the governance is taken care properly. We don't have to be reactive. After somebody has slapped me, then I start looking who slapped me, how did he slap me, how much this hit. Instead of that, we know that if somebody slapped, this is what is going to happen. This is what will happen. If it happens, I better, like you rightly said, hit him harder than what he has hit us. That is something which, as a policeman, you are very right. We cannot take this lying down. We cannot take this as a child's play, because even some youngsters are, in fact, that also the role has to see. Suppose today there's an age group of 18. Suppose some 16-year-old boy does some big cyber attack. Is he going to come under juvenile rule and then he's going to be let off? even some of the ones who have done some very negative things have been let off. So the rules have to be, proactive rules has to be done, and we ensure that we have a better and a good place, not divide of cyber attack, cyber security, but minimizing cyber security, and so that it doesn't come and touches our neck. It comes below, and then it comes and goes in its own way, like a smaller breaches. Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Brijesh Singh and Akram. You can
Thank you.
follow.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sekhar, for moderating and chairing this wonderful session. And thank you so much, sir, Brijesh sir, for sharing and enlightening us. Your wisdom, your knowledge is like a treasure which will be reserved at the Policy Times diary and library. And we will try to take a lot of points from this speech and convert this into some training modules. We are already planning to train a lot of youngsters, and in fact, we are planning to create a lot of startups and entrepreneurs into cybersecurity. So there are two areas we are planning. One is artificial intelligence and the future of technology like blockchain and machine learning and all, and the other is cybersecurity. So if we can create a bunch of entrepreneurs and startups in these two fields, as Dr. Sekhar told very well, that this is a challenge. And this challenge can be converted into a huge potential employment and entrepreneurship opportunities. So if you can leverage this, because the whole world is the market here. So it is not just about India. The whole world is market. So our entrepreneurs, we can create, in fact, the next level of multi-billionaires in this field of cybersecurity. So one, we have to protect our nation. We have to protect human beings across the world. On the other hand, also, this can be a huge business. As you told, cybersecurity does not impact an individual. It impacts the whole ecosystem. So we need to be very cautious. There are three levels of approach or three levels of strategies we need to adopt. One is a national level strategy. We have to be, government of India has already taken a very nice cybersecurity national strategy roadmap. Now we will study this roadmap more clearly. We will be very happy the way Brijesh sir is leading Maharashtra, the whole of 29 states of India. If we have a good consortium of all leaders, police leaders, taking strong action. I know Uttar Pradesh government has also a very strong cybersecurity cell. Haryana government is also taking similar initiatives. Other states are taking initiatives. So if you have a national ecosystem taking or giving the leadership of state officers, we can definitely have a national policy in place. At the same time, we can also create immense amount of entrepreneurs in this field. So thank you so much for sharing your views, sir. And viewers, if you like this kind of discussion, do subscribe to our channel and keep watching the Policy Times.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So
I think you
very